Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
What could have been a simple DUI ended in a high-speed chase with 7 charges. Good morning, this is John King filling in for Peter Christian. Your news this morning brought to you by the Mustard Seed Asian Cafe in Southgate Mall. Missoula law enforcement conducted a high-speed chase through Patty Canyon and the south side of Missoula yesterday that came to an end around 5:25 in the morning near Splash, Montana. Missoula County Sheriff's Department Public Information Officer Brenda Bassett explains how that chase began.
So our officer tried to initiate a traffic stop this morning at about 5:08. A vehicle was speeding near the Deer Creek area. So the officer turned around, turned on his lights, and tried to pull that vehicle over, but it accelerated in speed. That's when he turned on his sirens, and the vehicle still didn't stop. So he notified other officers in the area, and they all came to join the pursuit.
Bassett said spikes were laid down more than once, and at one point the car was speeding through a residential area at 80 miles per hour. 3 people were in the car, but only one of them was arrested.
There were 3 occupants, but only one 26-year-old was arrested. She was wanted for outstanding warrants, but is also likely to be charged with DUI, driving with a suspended license, eluding officers, 2 counts of criminal endangerment, and assault on a peace officer. And then those 2 other males that were in the vehicle were let go.
Jessica Kelly appeared in municipal court yesterday morning and is scheduled to appear in justice court this afternoon. Montana Department of Justice officials say 2 Browning boys who were taken by their non-custodial father last month have been found safe. The Justice Department had issued a missing and endangered persons advisory for 8-year-old Victor Kills Knight and 12-year-old Kaylin Rogers. The advisory said they were taken by 37-year-old Shem Kills Knight from a Child Protective Services placement home on February 11th. Shem Kills Knight is under federal investigation for child abuse. Blackfeet police say the boys weren't reported missing until last Friday. State officials said in a statement Tuesday that the boys were located in Montana and are safe. The statement did not provide any details, though. During this week's Missoula City Council meeting, the council met to discuss what they decided was an emergency parking situation for the downtown. The debate was over the legality of the new Luke parking system and the various hubs that are used for payment. Apparently, the new system wasn't fully squared up with Missoula's ordinances, and an emergency ordinance was passed without the normal public feedback time. City Councilman Harlan Wells disagreed with that vote.
And I even asked, well, if we just go through the normal process and it takes 44 days, is there anything that really causes any problems? And they said no, but we can't give tickets during that time, which I thought was fine. It's not, it's not the end of the world to miss 44 days worth of parking tickets if it meant going through the correct process. But once again, I guess I'm the one of 11 that sees the reason and stuff.
And he was the one in 11. Everyone but he voted for it. Wells says that the Parking Commission has known about this issue for a while, but failed to act until the last minute.
There's supposed to be 2 chances for people to come out and give public comment, and then there's supposed to be a 30-day pause before the ordinance goes into effect. The Parking Commission has known for a year that they were going to need to do this, and they could have brought it to us at any point and said, we would like to start the process now. It would have gone through the normal times. But, the Parking Commission really wants the City Council to stay out of their business, even though we give them the authority to exist, until they want something, and then they're like, hey, we want it now.
Now, many are wondering if the parking tickets that have been handed out since the beginning of the year were legal. The last named defendant in the armed occupation of an Oregon wildlife refuge hasn't been arrested, and his family in Montana isn't giving up his location. Jake Ryan was identified Monday as the 26th person charged in connection with a nearly 6-week-long standoff at the Mauler National Wildlife Refuge. He and another man are accused of using heavy equipment to dig through a Native American archaeological site. Occupation supporters are using social media to call on a northwestern Montana sheriff to shield Ryan from arrest and for people to head to the town of Plains to pray with Ryan's family. Sheriff Tom Rummel said Tuesday that outsiders should stay away while negotiations are underway for a peaceful resolution for Ryan's arrest. Ryan's mother, Roxana Ryan, says she doesn't know where Ryan is. Montana Governor Steve Bullock has agreed to reimburse the state for more than $2,500 for travel using a state-owned plane that coincided with campaign events. But House District 97 Representative Brad Sheeta says the amount of money that he's paying doesn't cover the actual cost.
I don't think the amount is a reasonable amount because based on just absolutely straight-ahead fair play, if for half the expense is spent on a campaign event and half is spent on state work, then I think there should be a commensurate amount of a reimbursement for that. Secondly, if it's been done in the past and he continues to do something that may not have been right in the past, irrespective of who the governor was, I don't think that it needs to be a practice that's continued.
Cheetah proposed that the use of government property in campaigns should be examined more closely in the future.
In a wider sense, I think what I would do is probably propose something that takes a look at use of government property in a wider swath rather than just looking at one particular aspect of it. Because if it's happening with the airplane, it may be happening with automobiles, it may be happening with other kinds of equipment use. And I think it's probably a good idea to do an assessment of where there might be misuse.
The governor will be paying the state for 21 trips at a cost of about $500 an hour to fly the plane, which averages more than $120 per trip. According to Cheetah, that plane probably costs between $1,000 and $1,600 to fly each trip. Attorneys for Montana and the state Republican Party have filed their arguments with the U.S. Supreme Court about whether or not the GOP should allow only registered party members to vote in its June 7th primary elections. Now it's up to the nation's high court to decide whether to intervene. The Montana Republican Party and 8 county central committees have filed an emergency application for an injunction that would close the primaries. The State Department of Justice filed its response on Tuesday, quickly followed by a reply from the Republican attorney Matthew Monforton. Party officials say the open primary system results in crossover voting and prevents them from identifying Republican voters. State attorneys argue that 2 lower courts have already denied that request for an injunction against the system, which has been in place for a century.